Hi everybody, this is a eulogy and stories about Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. Yeah, eulogy for him. Today is his birthday, Yud Tevet, the 18th of the month of Tevet. And we're going to do this through the wisdom, the Kabbalah of the returning light, which I teach. So Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, his music is still flying. What's bringing oneness in the world more than anything else, especially for the Jewish people, is that his nusach, his way of doing Kabbalah Shabbat, is in almost every Beit Knesset all over the world, bringing the hippies together, the straights together, the super Haredi, the Chabadniks, the this, that, the Mizrahi, everyone's coming together, singing Shlomo Carlebach's amazing songs. I'm going to talk about stories, first-hand stories, how I met with Shlomo Carlebach and his connection to me in my life. And we're going to talk about the stories on every level, right? And get into the nitty-gritty, what's really going on here. So first of all, we got to know that a person's birthday in astrology means something, right? He's born in Tevet, and what does that mean? For the Jewish people, because Ezra set up the 5 books of Moses to be read in a 1-year cycle, right? And he portioned them into like 54 parshiot. So the parshiot, when a person's born, has a lot to do with who you are and what you are and what's going on. And the parshiot this time at Yud Chet Tevet is all about deep inside getting out, getting out of Mitzrayim. Moshe Rabbeinu, the savior, right, of the Jewish people, bringing us out of Mitzrayim, or in slavery in Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is the Hebrew word for Egypt. Mitzrayim means, Mitzar is tight, narrow, constricted state. And that's because we're like a bud about to blossom, get the Tu B'Shvat, and we're going to bring it out. Imagine how a bud feels. It wants to just break out of their tight, constricted state. A bud that's going to become a beautiful blossom. And then fruits, and who you are. It's the Jewish year. So we just had the end of Sefer Bereshis, where Yaakov Avinu and Yosef Atzadik, which is the light of Chachma, Yaakov and Yosef bringing all the way down, the Vav, to this world, is embalmed and put in an aron. Right, casket, right? Embalm. The Hebrew word for embalming in the Torah uses is chanita. Chanita is the exact same word for a fruit which is going to blossom, right? I mean, the bud before it's about to blossom, the chanita. Wow, so that's what's happening. That's us. That light of Jacob within us that we developed through the Jewish year till now, the light of Yosef, which is the lahava, the light of the menorah, and now it's going to start coming down. By the time you get to the bottom of the menorah, is Parsha Bahalatcha in the Jewish year, and the wheat harvest, Eretz Nasna Ivula. That's what's in the bottom of the menorah in the Psalm 67, right? The bottom, right? And Parsha Bahalatcha, of course, correlates to the menorah, so it's the 36th Parsha, wow, mind-blowing, of the Jewish year. Now, Ezra did all this, right? 36 Parsha Lamed Vav, we light 36 lights, the candle lights of the menorah and Gewalt. The parsha of the menorah, Bahalatcha and Sivan, when Eretz Nasna Yivula, right, is giving its produce, is the 36th parsha of the Torah. Wow, you can count. Bereshis 1, Noach, right? 36, okay. So Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, the most common thing he would say to us is, Hever, I want to tell you the deepest of the deepest of the deepest. Come close. I want you to hear the deepest. This is the deepest of the deepest of the deepest depths. And he did that. Shlomo shared with us the deepest of the deepest, and with this music, as Rav Pupko said at around the Yortzeit of Shlomo Carlebach at the Kotel of Kabbalah Shabbat, Rav Pupko said, the deepest Torah you can get just by singing Shlomo's Nigunim, because someone is not able to sit for years and years and years and learn Torah. Instead, you can listen to Shlomo Carlebach's music, like the Baal Shem Tov says, and you come close to God, even though you're not this great intellectual Talmud Chacham, you get that same light. Just a spoonful of sugar, right? Honey, the sweetest. And he would say the sweetest of the sweetest, right? And Shlomo will also say to us, give me harmony, right? Now, Shlomo Carlebach was reaching the deepest level of everyone's soul, because when you're expressing from the deepest part of yourself, you vibrate that part in someone else, right? And the deeper you go, the more the whole world is one. The Pope visited New York City many years ago, and I was in a Daf Yomi shiur with these older guys in New York. I was teaching diet there then, and I was learning with these guys Torah. Hochbaum, Simcha Hochbaum's father, Simcha Hochbaum is one of the Carlebach rabbis in Hebron, his father, Fischel, said that the Pope came and made a convention. They had a convention, and they had people singing like bleachers with a whole choir, and then afterwards, the people are driving home, and there is a conservative rabbi in the car with one of the bishops of the Pope. And the conservative rabbi wanted to point out to this bishop, said, hey, the song that your choir was singing was written by an Orthodox rabbi. This is the house of the Lord, right? And this Orthodox rabbi's name is Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. And he wrote that song that your choir was singing at your... And the Pope and the bishop says, whoa, we know Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. We know this is a song. And you want to know? The Pope loves all of Rabbi Carlebach's songs. What? The Pope? Because the deeper you go, you touch all the way back to Adam. The whole world is one. Shlomo was getting that deep. Shlomo knew what it meant to be the Messiah. Many times Shlomo would say, wow, how is he going to do it, people? How is it? Because Shlomo knew he was so close to himself being the Messiah. He knew what the challenges are, what it is, or how is he going to do it? And when Shlomo would say it, you felt in the deepest way that Shlomo knew, how is he going to do it? How is Messiah going to do it? How is he going to do it? Wow. Gewalt. Amazing. Now, how I met Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. Wow. Amazing stories. Everything's amazing about Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. And basically, he was Chavutas, Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, with the Lubavitch Rebbe. And then Lubavitch Rebbe became the Rebbe. And he's sending Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach out to the world because he sees he has this amazing talent. Now, we're mentioning Ezra, by the way, that Shlomo's bringing the deepest of the deepest outwards. And I want to go back to this, that his birthday, the 18th of Tevet, is during Parshat Shemot, when we're in this deep Mitzrayim, and coming up, Parshat Vayira, Moshe Rabbeinu. And God is telling Moshe Rabbeinu to speak to Paro, right? Again, Ezra set this up for us. Ezra took the Torah, and our sages tell us that if we didn't receive Torah from Moses, or Rebbe Eliezer, we would receive it from Ezra. So here it's all lined up in the 1-year cycle, and it's completely connected to who you are, what you are. It'd be great to know what day of the week Shlomo Carlebach was born, and we can look at the exact aliyah. There's 7 aliyahs in a parsha, right? That would be nice. If anybody knows, please tell me. Okay, what day of the week was Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach born? What aliyah would connect to him? Because what's going on here is that Hashem in these parshiot wants Moses to speak to the world of Egypt, to Paro. Moses represents Netzach, and the 4th month, Tevet is the 4th month from Rosh Hashanah, is Netzach, right? And then we're going to go into Hod, expressing outwards, and Shavat, right? These 3 weeks, Shemos, Vayira, Bo, correlate to the other side of the year of Bein HaMitzarim. At the 17th of Tammuz, we begin 3 weeks of Bein HaMitzarim. We're in, right, between the fences, Mitzzarim. But Mitzzarim is the letters Mitzrayim. Opposite side of the year, the 17th, the week of the 17th of Tevet, right? Today's the 18th, Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach's birthday. Is Shemos Vayira Bo. We begin the 3 weeks of Mitzrayim. And there's Tu B'Shvat and Tu B'Av. Tu B'Shvat, you're bringing it out like a bud about to blossom, and we bring it out at Tu B'Shvat time. Okay, but now we're in this constricted state, as we mentioned, right? Tight inside. Since it's Shlomo Carlebach's birthday, the 18th, that means it's also his twin brother's birthday. And the coolest thing is that the only Torah that I heard from Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach's twin brother, whose name is Eli Chaim Carlebach, was about, and it was on Rosh Chodesh Tevet, about Tevet. And Rabbi Eli Chaim spoke in the old city of Jerusalem at Yochevet's house, Yochevet, your last name, big dome ceiling, kind of like this cold room. And he said, it's because we're coming with the light of Hanukkah, the Tevet. He said, you got to be like a racehorse with the blinders on. You're not looking left, right, you're just looking and keep going with that light. Don't get distracted. That's what he said to us about Tevet, Shlomo's brother. So they're both like in the inside. How do you like bring that inside to the world? And Shlomo was like, wow, he came into the world with one purpose, to help the Jewish people and help the whole world get close to God. That's all. Not for money, nothing. When he left Lakewood, he's walking out, Lakewood, big yeshiva, Rosh Yeshiva. Rav Arno Kotler, as the story goes, didn't say, Shlomo's leaving the yeshiva, Rabbi. No, he said, there goes all of Shas Bavli and all of Shas Yerushalmi. Shlomo is bringing all that light to the world. That's what Shlomo carlebach did. We have to respect that. We're blown away. And you know what? It was only about the light of God. Anyone who went to a Shlomo carlebach concert would not come home afterwards and say, oh, Shlomo carlebach, oh, wow. No, they didn't say anything like that. He wasn't there. It was just the light of God. They would just feel that you're closer to God. I feel closer to the Shekhinah. Something changed in me. And in the morning, people would wake up and like the melodies go into your kishkas, or the deepest part of your soul, and they're doing this Broadway thing, Soul Doctor, right? Yeah, because the non-Jewish world has to hear these songs because they touch the non-Jewish world too, as we mentioned with the Pope. It's the deepest of the deepest, and the deeper you go, you get to Adam, you get to the first man. That's what Shlomo carlebach was doing. I mentioned many years ago, there was an article about upcoming musicians. I was in it, and they were interviewing us, and I said, the temple is going to be rebuilt. We're going to sing Rabbi Shlomo carlebach's songs, right? And someone was sort of like, what do you mean, Am Yisrael Chai? What's the big deal? You're going to sing that, and everybody realize how deep Shlomo's songs are, how deep they are. Hayo, hello, 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 and also happy. We're going to sing this in the temple to be rebuilt very soon. Okay? So, how do you bring the deepest to the outside? Shlomo's birthday, this parsha, and these parshiot of Vayera also, bring out the deepest to the outside. That's what we're heading into. Netzach. Moshe's Netzach. Aaron is Hod. Hod is that light coming out. But God says to Moses, I want you, Moshe, to speak to Paro. God didn't want Aaron to do it. God wants the deepest inside to speak. Moshe says, I'm Orla Sifasayim. Orla is the commandment, Rashi tells us, that you can't partake of fruits until after 3 years. And even like you replant, so if you reroot yourself, man is like a tree in the field, and we give fruits to the world. If you reroot yourself, you need another 3 years till you can express outwards again what you're gaining deep inside to bring it out, right? That's like pretty normal. But God wants the deepest to come out. Netzach, even before the 3 years. So the most amazing thing in the Torah, everything is amazing, so it's all the most amazing. But God gave me the understanding to see that the Torah doesn't waste ink. And the Torah tells us when Moses and Aaron spoke to Paro, right? Really God wanted Moshe, but he said, okay, not happy about it, but okay, Aaron will be your Navi. He'll speak for you. Hod, come out, right? Torah goes out of the way to tell us their ages. That when Moses and Aaron spoke to Paro, Moses was 80. This is in Parsha Vayera. Peh, 80 is Peh. Well, that's a sign. And Aaron is out of Orla. Aaron is 83. 3 more years. Gewalt. Hod. That's the within us. Moshe and Aaron. And Avraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, right? Yosef, David and Melch. They're inside of us. It's a development throughout the Jewish year when we read this in the Torah of developing you, and you get to a new Yosef, right? A new Chacham, a new light. Yosef al-Hava, the light of the menorah. And the light's now coming down. It's each and every one of you has developed a new thing, especially if you're doing what you need to do to develop yourself, learning Torah and growing and praying and connecting and, of course, eating the proper diet. And if you don't, it kind of like miss a lot of stuff, right? You got to get what we call centered. So Shlomo was bringing out the deepest of the deepest of the deepest to the outside. And that was his whole goal, people, to bring the deepest depths. Come closer and listen, please, to the deepest of the deepest. Someone would tell us, like, hey, how come when you hug someone you close your eyes? Yeah, when you kiss, because it's the deepest. How can you give a shalach manos with a messenger on Purim, right? With a messenger, because it's deeper than what you see on the outside. He wanted us to get to the deepest of the deepest of the deepest of the deepest. And you want to know something? Even if you didn't meet Shlomo, that deep light is so strong that everyone's getting that light now. And as I mentioned, what's bringing oneness in the world more than anything, the Jewish people especially, is all the big Knesses with the carlebach nusach, bringing together the hippies, the Chabadniks, the Mizrachis, the Haredis, every different types of Jews, all together connecting with Shlomo's music. What are we going to do in the temple? We're going to sing Shlomo's songs, right? Shlomo would tell us, don't ever copy anybody, and even deeper, don't even copy yourself. Always get back to the deepest part. So it's not so simple for me to be making this video right now during Sefer Shemos, in the beginning of Shemos, because we're still deep inside our shrine. We feel something so deep I want to express outwards, but it's not so simple right now. But we're going to go for it. Okay. So, I met Rabbi Shlomo carlebach. He was sent then by the Lubavitch Rebbe to go out to the world, and he comes to St. Louis, right, as a Jewish family psychologist kind of thing, whatever. Against his whole thing was just to bring the Jewish people close to God. And my mother, the blessed memory, was teaching at the Epstein Hebrew Academy in St. Louis, Missouri. And she gets a phone call, go pick up this Rabbi Shlomo carlebach. And she goes and she sees it's 1958, and Shlomo's 25. You know, like bobby pins, his beard's up and payas up, and something's like different. And it's 1958, and he's like, he was part of the hippie scene. I mean, Shlomo, the original beatniks way back, like he stepped right into the world. And my mother was like, what's this? And Shlomo's very modest. He sits in the back of the car with his guitar. And my mother explained to me that she really didn't like driving. And she didn't drive when I was growing up, but she drove a little bit back then. And she was scared driving. And Shlomo's in the back seat, and she has to make a left turn. And there's lots of traffic. And she's scared. And Shlomo carlebach obviously sensed that she's scared and sees that she's not moving. She's just sitting, waiting to make the turn. And she's really doesn't know what to do. So what does he do? He takes out his guitar and he starts playing music. 1958. Shlomo's playing in her car music in the middle of the street in traffic. Gewalt. So I grew up with these stories about Rabbi Shlomo. So that was 58. I was born in 59. So Shlomo carlebach was actually singing, right, to my mother, to Hashem. My mother's there, right, while she's pregnant with me. That's cool. Osmosis, right? So I don't remember Shlomo except when I was 10. But he was doing many teachings before that. And I want to share something absolutely amazing, Hasidic story, true story with Shlomo, and involving me, right? So when I remember him was when I was 10. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, 3 chords. I mean, what's the big deal? I was starting to play guitar, and I was playing bar chords and all over and all this stuff, and I'm like, what's the, but something went deep inside me. I don't know what it was, but we're going to talk about it, that later when I was 21, it affected me so much that I was in the Evergreen State College music school, and all these musicians and songwriters, and I knew deep inside that there was a real songwriter, Rabbi Shlomo carlebach, a living legend. Shlomo was a living legend. What's a legend? The guy's not here anymore. When Shlomo was alive, he wasn't here, and nothing's changed. It was just the light of God. It's the same thing. When he was here, he wasn't here. So nothing's changed. When Shlomo would hug you, it's like the light of God. Unbelievable. It wasn't him. It was just our soul. When he would call you up and say, hey, you're like, who's talking? This is like Shlomo carlebach's. Like, it was too beyond. It was like our own soul was with us. It just, we took it for granted. We didn't understand. We didn't know what it was. Like Josh Loffer and Shlomo Katz, like they both came to the conclusion that, Shlomo didn't even meet Shlomo carlebach because the light's so strong. You didn't need to meet him. And Josh would say, like, we didn't get it. We didn't get it. We didn't realize what was going on. It was so high. So high. So stories like this. I was probably 4 or something. I don't remember Shlomo till I was 10, as I said, like 1963 or something. I was born in 59. And my father, bless him for me, told me the story that Shlomo was teaching, and he was teaching, these people now would be 100 years old. Like Shlomo's affected 4 or 5 generations. And they told me that, when Shlomo was here, wow, he would sit and say, kindalach, kindalach. And he's 25 and they're like in their mid-30s. And he's telling them all about, the world today. And wow, Shlomo. So he's doing one of these teachings, my father explained. And all of a sudden he jumps up and says, Oi, Gewalt. Now he's in St. Louis, right? Oi, Gewalt. I just remembered I have a concert to give in New York City. What? In 2 hours? How are you? Oh my God. Father says, quick, come in my car. I'll take you to the airport right now. Come. And Shlomo jumps in the car with my father, gets to the airport, walking towards where you go to get the tickets and get on the plane. And all of a sudden, Shlomo looks at my father and says, Oi, Gewalt, I forgot I have no money to pay for the ticket. And of course, my father then said, okay, I'll give you this money, a couple $100, whatever it was back then to fly from New York, right, from St. Louis to New York. And Shlomo looks at my father right in the eyes, right, and says, I guarantee you, you will receive this money. You will get this money back. How is he going to do it? When is he going to do it? Well, this is the story, people. So now I am 21, so it's many years later, and I'm in Yeshiva Deshet Torah, in the old city of Jerusalem. And I realize I'm going to live in Israel now. And I'm sending for this big mizvada, like a big trunk, of my stuff from America to Israel. And, I'm a musician, so I have a few electronic stuff and this and that. And anyway, I get a note, some kind of message, come to Haifa and pick up your trunk, right? So I'm Yeshiva Bacher. And at that time, my father was supporting me. I didn't want to be supported because I just came from the Evergreen State College. There was all hippie stuff, and I wrote a paper there called The Economy, and I called it the Eco No Money. Economy, eco, no money, like economy not based on money, and I was in money. But Rev Noach Weinberg said, take the money. Your father wants to support you. Take the money. So my father was supporting me then, and so it's really his money, but he's giving to me to learn Torah, big mitzvah. But I didn't have much money, and I go to Haifa with no money, and had enough for the bus, and I get there, and I see it's meches, it's tax. They're going to tax everything in my trunk. And I'm looking through this window, and there's this big warehouse, dirty floor, all these boxes, and there's this old guy, right, Israeli, right? And he's got a knife, and he's cutting open boxes, and he's taking out stuff, and he's got a list, and he's writing down what everyone's got to pay. And then he sees me, and he says, come in here. And he sees my mizvada, he sees my big truck, and he says, open it up, and he starts taking things out, looking what has value, and writing down on a piece of paper how much tax I have to pay. And I'm looking at this paper while he's doing it. I'm going, oh my God, it's getting up to hundreds of dollars. And I have no money. I came all the way from Yerushalayim to Haifa, and I'm praying to God, please Hashem, what am I going to do? I came all the way here, and what am I going to do? I don't have any money. What am I going to do? And Piton, he sees a cassette tape. It says, Shlomo in St. Louis, right? I did a little thing with Shlomo there in St. Louis, whatever, talk about that. He looks at me. He says, Shlomo Carlebach? I said, yes. He says, you know Shlomo Carlebach? I said, yes, I know Shlomo Carlebach. You know Shlomo Carlebach? Yes, you know Shlomo Carlebach. He starts jumping up and down with me, grabs my hands, and he starts singing and dancing around the whole warehouse singing, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, we're dancing, dust coming up from the floor. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Wow. Went on for 10 minutes. We get back to that list of all that money I had to pay. Crossed it all out. I didn't have to pay anything. That's how Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach paid back my father for that money my father gave him for the ticket from St. Louis on the plane to New York. Amazing, right? So how many years later was that? I was like probably 4 then, 21. So you're talking like 18, 17 years later. Amazing. Shlomo said, I guarantee you will get that money back. Hasidic story. Amazing. I have another story about Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. Okay, so I met him. How did I meet him? So I wanted to find him because I knew there was a living legend, this real musician, a real songwriter. Somehow, when I heard him when I was 10, the holiness, something went in me, even though I was just thinking, 3 chords, what's a big deal? But somehow it went in me, whatever it was, something deep, 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 and I had to find him. Because I'll tell you what, one of the reasons I left my college was there was a class called America's Music, and they wanted to trace what's the source of America's music? Where does it come from? And here's how they did it. They said, okay, let's go back. Beatles, right? Bob Dylan, Bobby Zimmerman, Jew Boy, right? Arlo Guthrie, Union songs, right? Folk songs. Black gospel. Black gospel. Kumbaya, my Lord, get up, ba, come, yeah. Jewish, right? Black gospels. The church, right? Krobissos, Nesh, and Young, like there were harmonies. Mamish came so much because they allowed them went to church when they were younger, singing these 4-part harmonies. But where did it come from? What was next? At the back source? The temple in Jerusalem. Whoa. Like I was Jewish enough to know. Oh my gosh. My mother, came from the gold in my ear from Milwaukee to Israel, and I grew up with strong Judaism. I knew oh my gosh, the temple in Jerusalem? Wow. My father escaped from Yom Shemo and got to Israel, and then they had escaped from the British in 46. I was born in America, but so I knew, oh my gosh, I went to Hebrew school, and the temple in Jerusalem, oh my gosh, wow. So I split. So I'm going to Jerusalem. I want to find the source. I want to get there, and I want to find Shlomo Carlebach. Right? So I'm on kibbutz, and it's not happening, and it's like the same old saying, and I got to go to Jerusalem, I got to find the truth, I got to find the source, and I get into yeshiva, and I'm still thinking about Shlomo Carlebach, and as soon as I get there, I make one phone call. Someone told me who to call. It was the Wits, Yoshua and Amunah Witt, and I think Amunah says to me, he's right here. Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach is here right now. Oh my gosh, in the old city. They had a house in the old city of Jerusalem. Run over, right? And Shlomo hadn't seen me since I was 10. I'm 21 now. He knew everything about me. Shlomo would meet somebody, and 20 years later, knew everything about them. And even if he spoke to them for a few minutes. And he knew the inside of my soul. And Shlomo knew the inside of everyone's soul. And that's why Shlomo, when he did a hesped for the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Shlomo said the Lubavitcher Rebbe knew the inside of everyone's soul, because Shlomo saw that in the Rebbe, because it takes one to know one. Shlomo was that way. And Shlomo showed us that he was that way. When he would give brachas at Moshav Modein, late at night, early morning, 3 a.m, at a Shabbaton, right? Shlomo would give a piece of cake. Rebbe does it because my Rebbe, Mordechai Goldstein, will explain that you get a connection there, like a nefesh connection to the person, then you can bless them. And Shlomo would bless everyone. Now, all the Rebbes, they give a blessing to the person. You don't know what he's saying to the guy. Shlomo would say the blessings out loud to each individual of the Chevra. He said the blessing out loud, and that way we saw and heard that Shlomo knew the inside of every single person that he blessed. Because a blessing is according to who that person is. And Shlomo said it out loud, and we heard, and we saw the essence. Or Shlomo blessed the person. Shlomo blessed me, God willing. Shlomo blessed me that I will be singing in the temple, God willing, soon to be rebuilt in our days. And I'm blessing everyone to join us. Bezrat Hashem. We're going to sing to God without form, the God of Israel. So, Shlomo sees me, and immediately says to me also, Ben Sion, grab your guitar, come with me. I started playing concerts with Shlomo. And Shlomo was so big that it wasn't about him. He would sit down in the crowd and say, Ben Sion, play us music. And later years, at the Pargod, places like this, Chaim David, play us some music. Ben Sion, Josh Schlaffer was very modest. He wouldn't do that. He was an amazing songwriter. Amazing connection. What I learned from Josh Loffer is that you don't say a blessing unless you're completely connected. Inside the words, you're completely connected to God. Because Josh does that, right? The inside coming out. You don't just, oh, what did I say there? I just said, Baruch atah. No. You're like right inside. And you learn. Osmosis, you learn from being with people, holy people like this, okay? That's how we learn. Here's a story with Josh and me on stage with Rabbi Shlomo. It's very special. That when Shlomo would come to a concert, right, he wouldn't come onto the stage through the stage door. We're all on stage, right? Shlomo comes through the door that the people come through. and everyone's sitting down, and Shlomo has to connect and relate to everyone there. And hug and give energy, and you're the best, right? Everyone's the best. And it would take like a half hour, depending on how many people. The poor Godim, like about a half hour, it was like 100 people, something like that. And whatever. But once Shlomo gets to the stage, now, Chevra, let's play, right? So I knew that's going to happen. So I made sure that Shlomo's guitar is tuned, because Shlomo didn't care. He's just going to play. Tuned? I mean, I'm really into Shechina. It's got to be like on beat, tuned. Tamar Atiyas Loffer, Josh's sister, married to Yitzhak Atiyas, amazing percussionist. Everybody knows the Atiyas, right? But Tamar said, what is professional? On beat, On beat. It's got to be on beat. And Shlomo's already on beat. There's these amazing black professional players that talked about Shlomo. Some black woman singer said that Shlomo carlebach is perfectly on beat. It was perfectly on beat. It was 3 or 4 chords, but on beat is professional. So we got to be in tune also, Yefet Elokim Yefet, V'yishkom bo Leshem, right? All the beauty of the world has got to be beautiful, perfect, and that's Shechina, right? L'sharet Shechina b'Yisrael. Yefet. So I'm like really into it's got to be tuned, it's got to be perfect, right? And so I'm ready. I'm tuned up. Shlomo's guitar is tuned up, and Shlomo gets to the stage, and okay, Chevra, let's go now. Well, Josh Loffer didn't tune his guitar yet. And Josh says, Shlomo, wait a minute, just give me a minute, please. Let me tune my guitar. No, Josh, let's play now. But Shlomo, I need to tune my guitar. Josh, now. Shlomo, please. And Shlomo just looks at him, smiles, yells, Josh, holy brother. Some people spend their whole life just tuning up, and they never play. Gewalt. As Josh started playing, you can bend the strings a bit, and get it in tune while you're playing. Wow, what a message. Shlomo told us in the level of Netzach also that don't ever copy yourself. And even deeper, don't even copy yourself. Don't copy anyone, and even deeper, don't ever copy yourself. It's always got to be a new, fresh light from deep inside. That's what Shlomo taught us. He taught us how to relate to the world, in this way. Now, I'm going to some other stories about Rabbi Shlomo carlebach, and I want to talk about Lashon Hara. Now, the only thing I ever heard Rabbi Shlomo carlebach say in regards to Lashon Hara was in the Beit Knesset of Moshe Modi'in. Shlomo said to us, hey, you want to get close to someone? Speak about a third person. Hey, it got so close to you now. We're speaking about someone else and we get close. He was really saying that in a sarcastic way, and he's like, that's disgusting. That people get close to each other by speaking about someone else. Now, I've heard in the world that the lowest level is speaking about other people. And higher level is like, speaking about high, lofty ideas, right? How can you speak about another Jew? Shlomo told us that when you look at your friend, you look at their higher self. Of course, there's tikkunim down here we have to do, right? But why, when people speak Lashon Hara, do they get leprosy, right? As the Torah tells us, with Miriam, Moshe Rabbeinu, we learn from that. The skin gets attacked, the skin. So I have my understanding, which is that according to Kabbalah, the first Kabbalah one of the first Kabbalahs I learned from Rabbi David Aaron. Rabbi David Aaron's an amazing rabbi in the world, everybody knows, right? So he taught me many years ago, like almost 40 years ago, 38 years ago. The Kabbalistic concept is that Adam HaRishon was pure light, right? And this is the emes, this is the truth. And he was in a world of pure light, emanation, which is the world of Atzilut. Atzilut is spelled with an aleph. And there's four worlds, right? There's really 5, Adam Kadmon, and Atzilut, Bria, Yetzira, Asiya, right? Well, when he ate of the fruit, Eitz Das, fell from Atzilus to Olam Asiya. So that means that the Aleph of Atzilus fell, and Asiya begins with an ayin, so the Aleph fell to an ayin. So all that light, or with an Aleph, or fell to or with an ayin. Or with an ayin is skin. We fell into skin. We fell into this world of tikkun. So why would someone's skin get attacked when they speak Lashon Hara? This is my understanding, is to wake the person up and say, hey, you've got skin. Look at that. See? Pay attention to your skin, man. Because you're also in this world of tikkun. You also fell from or to or. I think that's the emes. There's a lot of emes. There's 70 faces to the Torah, right? We're going to talk about Lashon Hara because as I learned from Rabbi Mordechai Goldstein, my Rebbe, who God gave Mount Zion to, and why am I going to talk about Lashon Hara? Because I can't even say it, but there's a Lashon Hara going around, and it's preventing us from building the temple. That's what we know. So Mordechai Goldstein taught us that how do you learn from a tzaddik? Well, who was a tzaddik? Noach. And Noach had 3 sons. And so there's 3 natures, how you relate to the tzaddik. Shem, Cham, and Yefet. And the Jewish people come from Shem, right? Cham and Yefet. Well, what did Cham do? Cham saw the tzaddik, Noach, his father, saw that he had nakedness. What's nakedness in Kabbalah, according to Chabad Hasidus? The levush, the clothing, is our thought, speech, and actions, That's the levush of your soul. And Cham saw into the inner tent. Intense, like intense is in tent. Deep in the tent, Noach was naked. Nothing going on deep inside. Now, that's because, as my understanding of the Turning Light, he was drunk. In Chassidus and Kabbalah, where you get drunk on wine, right? Wine is bina. But then you have higher than bina, which is new growth. Like in this week's Parsha, kill all the women, which is the hay, which is the female bina. Kill the women, scratch that. Kill all the men, right, which is chachma. No new growth, no new chachma. And let the women live, the same old stuff, right? No new growth. No new growth. Don't bring it down, new stuff, right? Right? Kill off the males and let the women live, right? That's, Yud is the male aspect, and Hey, Bina. So Yud is oil, right? In Chassidus Kabbalah, I heard from Peretz Orbach, when you pour oil, it makes no noise. It's like deep inside, it's quiet. Whereas Bina is making noise, right? Mashiach's got to have Bina, right? Lot and his daughters and wine, and right? Got to have some Bina, a lot of Bina. Mashiach's such a happening guy. Lot chooses the Yordain, Yorad Nun. Well, the light is there before destruction of Mitzrayim and flowing waters, and it's your consciousness that you're a happening guy, right? Whereas Avram chooses Canaan, Kanua, Maknia. I'm bending to the rabbis, I'm humble, I'm a nothing, and I'm growing, and I'll grow eventually, but right now I'm just bending, and Lot's the guy who's like filled with, and Mashiach's got to have that, so Avram's got to save Lot, because this light of Mashiach is in Lot. Now, Noach was drunk on wine, so it's just his same stuff. It's such an opportunity in the beginning of the year when we're reading that in Chodesh Cheshvan to start growing more. Lech Lecha is coming next, which is Lech Lecha, go to a deeper you, right? Noach is all drunk on Bina, right? Das is Yosef, is wheat, standing wheat. Yosef says, you're going to bow to my das, right? You're going to bow to my wheat. Alumati, sheaf of wheat. Alumati is the letters, as I see. Li Emet, I've got the truth. And people don't like that. But if you want the truth, then go for the truth. So Shem, Cham, and Yefet. Mordechai Goldstein explained, how do you learn from the tzaddik? Cham is about seeing the nakedness, meaning that these tzaddiks got problems, right? And not only seeing it, but going out and telling everybody about it. Telling everyone about it, Lashon Hara. Crazy. And the next song, Yefet, right? So Yefet notices, also like Ham, sees it, but covers it up. Yefet's like, let's cover him up, right? So Shem and Yefet are walking with the blanket, but it's about Yefet is the one who's covering him up, according to my Rebbe. And Shem doesn't even notice. And then we have to be like Shem, my Rebbe said. How do you learn from a tzaddik, right? You don't even notice. So we're going to talk about Lashon Hara right now. Let's say someone says all this Lashon Hara about the tzaddik, right? The Shem aspect you want to continue to learn from that tzaddik. Because everyone falls. We don't have saints in Judaism. We don't have saints. It doesn't exist by us. We have David HaMelech, King David, who says, because I fall, I rise. Because I fall, I rise. Because I fall, I rise. So again, Rabbi Shlomo carlebach said, you look at your friend, you look at their higher self. And we're all in tikkun. If you're looking at a Ferrari when it's in the shop, you might think, blah, 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 But you don't destroy someone's life or their reputation. You go in, you want to help, you want to find out and help and get to the emes of the story, right? Rabbi Shlomo carlebach, people don't talk about the emes of his character, of the story, the people that are saying negative stuff. Now, in regards to Cham, speaking about it, there was a picture on the internet of Bill Cosby, black guy, right? I love blacks, special. So it's not about, by the way, when it comes to prejudice and bigotry, it's when you say we're all the same. That's bigotry, because we're not the same. We're one. There's a whole story there. Bill Cosby, right? And Shlomo in the same frame, Shlomo carlebach. And Bill Cosby's like, right? And Shlomo. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, what could this be? And my first thought was, oh my gosh, it's depicting Cham, right? Speaking bad about the tzaddik. That's what it looked like to me. Cham speaking bad about the tzaddik. And lo and behold, it was speaking bad about Bill Cosby and speaking bad about Shlomo carlebach. Oh my gosh, this is like crazy. Isn't God waking them up to see that you have this Cham, that you guys are being like Cham, speaking bad about the tzaddik? How do you deal with the fact that someone's Yetzer Hara got them? How do you deal with it? Because everybody falls. So how do you deal with it? So one of the biggest Talmidei Chachamim that came out of Mount Zion, the day Esper Shiva, is Rabbi Raphael Sidin. The only rabbi, when we all got smicha, right? You get smicha, you're not a rabbi. It means you're a little bit serious about learning. But when it came to Raphael Sidin, who was living above King David's tomb, right? The Rebbe, Reb Mordechai Goldstein, who God gave Mount Zion to, ran up to his house, and the Rebbe gave him smicha, the real thing, put his hands on him. And my understanding is the Rebbe is the sweet soul of Jacob. That's why God gave him Mount Zion. Jacob's going to come to receive his inheritance, right? Hartzim Rabbi Pleta. And he's got nine sons and 3 students that make up the soul roots of the Shiftei Khan. That's why the Goldsteins are on Mount Zion. So the Rebbe gave Raphael Sidin smicha. What did Raphael Sidin say to me? When Raphael Sidin started hearing things about Rabbi Shlomo carlebach, right? He heard things concerning women, this, that. So Rabbi Sidin didn't say anything bad about Rabbi carlebach whatsoever. What did he say? He said to me, because he himself was a big Talmid Chacham, he says, Rabbi Shlomo carlebach is a huge Talmid Chacham. He says, what do you see? You see how big the Yetzer Hara is. Talking bad about the snake, right? Now, what do you do about the snake? This week's Parsha's got a snake. You don't talk about the person. You talk about the Yetzer Hara. You see that the Yetzer Hara can take a person over, and you got to be careful. So what do you do about the snake? So this week's Parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu takes a staff, right? Your staff is your vav, your connection from heaven to earth, right? Who you are, what you are from heaven to earth. Throw it to the ground. Why to the ground? Because we're in Tevet. Tevet, Shvat, Adar. We're coming to the creation, according to the Rabbeinu Tam, of Adam at Nisan into the physical reality, right? Nisan, Adar, Nisan. Whereas the other side of the year, Elul, El Lamed Vav, going up, and in the creation of Adam on Rosh Hashanah, 6th day of creation, right? According to Rabbeinu Tam, is the creation of Adam in the beyond. We're going up. It's beyond this world. But right now, we're taking that light from the beyond. We're after Rosh Hashanah. We're after Sefer Bereshis. We're now coming into the world. Tevet, Shvat, Adar, they're on the same 3 months. Devel Dan, right? So you throw to the world. You throw your staff to the ground, God told Moses. And what happened? It became a snake. Not true, right? Meaning not straight. A snake goes like that. Not straight. Not straight. Yisrael is Yashar El. But not straight has to happen sometime. Nachash, the Hebrew word for snake, is the same gematria as Mashiach. What's going on there? right? So Rabbi Shalom Gold, who created the yeshiva, a student of Rabbi Mordechai Goldstein, also from Mount Zion, Shalom Gold, Rosh Yeshiva of Rebbe Akiva Yeshiva, he told me that the reason Nachash is the gematria of Mashiach, Mashiach Nachash, what's going on, Mashiach Nachash, is because Mashiach went straight, the Satan would just get him, God forbid. So it has to go like this, weave around, like in, out, right? You're in, you're out, what are you doing? You're out, but eventually, right? Nachash Mashiach, now can't get straight, but you want to get straight. Of course you want to get straight. So what does God tell Moshe Rabbeinu? What advice? How do you get straight? Yisrael, Yashar, straight, El, straight to God. You grab the tail. Moshe grabbed the tail of the snake and it became a staff again. Now tail is Tail, right? The tail of the snake. But that's your past. The tail is the end. Where did Amalek get us? This is enough. The past, right? How do you get it straight? Grab that tail. Let's spell it Tale. Your story in this world. Because it doesn't have to be the circle game. You can change yourself, and that's a Jew, right? And you do. But everyone else talk about it. Terrible. You don't want to ever do that to anybody. But yourself. It's really disgusting. Grab that tail, right? And it became a staff again, connection to heaven and earth. Do it right this time. Now, the other side of the year, opposite Tevet, we said, is Tammuz, right? You have Bein HaMetzorim, 17th of Tammuz till 9th of Av, and then you have the 17th of Tevet. We start Shemos V'Rabo, 3 weeks of Mitzrayim, right? 2 sides of Jewish year. So in Tammuz, as we begin Tammuz, we're beginning going Tammuz Av Elul, going up. So there's a snake in Parshat Chukat, in Tammuz. And the snake is up on a staff. And that's the healing. You got to look at the problem as you're looking up to your new vision, because it's Tammuz Av Elul, the creation of Adam and vision. You have to look at your vision. Are you straight? And get it straight. But the beginning of healing is looking at the Yetzer Hara, looking at the snake. What do you do with Yetzer Hara? So the book Tamar Devara, right? So quotes the Zohar in the Midah of Gevura. Gevura, holding back, a Gever, holding back. And he quotes the Zohar that says that a man's Yetzer Hara is only for his wife. So that's the Gevura, hold back from everybody else. It's only for your wife. Now that's not so simple. Now the story about Shlomo Carlebach, he was teaching at the Yaspi Yeshiva. And as I heard from Yeshua Witt, what Shlomo didn't like was that the yeshivas are cutting your wings too fast. Now I'll let that happen to me and grow back. But you grow new wings, right? And you can fly even better if you struggle in Torah. But Shlomo wanted now, getting on stage, now, When in Parshat Yitro, once you have chuppah with Hashem, we're getting to after Tu B'Shvat, so the end of the verse is don't build madrigot, step to go up to Hashem. A ramp, just straight up, so you shouldn't show your nakedness. Noach's nakedness. Sometimes, and this is Rabbi Shlomo, right now, 7:47, he would say. And it says, go, right? And you sing, din day, you get a nigun, you're right there with the Kedusha, right up there. But if you go step by step, you're focusing on your problems and how you're not this and not that. No, that's not Shlomo's way. Have it right there. And then we got to do that sometimes. And sometimes, okay, sometimes you work on yourself and you hit yourself and you're nothing. But no. When it comes to the whole world singing to God, in a split second, we can all reach that high light and unite the whole world together and sing to God and not pay attention to all the negativity. In fact, in the morning, there's a fail-safe that you when you say God's name, Adonai, you're imagining Haya Hoveh V'Hiyeh, right? Haya, and you say this in the morning, like Rabbi Yosef Goldstein, and in that you say that I'm going to judge myself and all the Jewish people and the whole world to the schus, to the side of merit. I'm judging everyone, myself, the Jewish people, and the whole world to the side of merit. It means Yimak Shema, like the Nazis, and the side of merit. Because if you really want to pray, you've got to get back to before this insanity of all the craziness of everybody. You got to get to the pure light of the whole world. Okay, Amalek can't be fixed. But in your kavanah, you can get back to that pure light. The pure light. And if you're in touch with your pure light, that's what you're going to see on the outside. You'll see the pure light of everyone else. So people speaking Lashon Hara, they're really, because they're not pure. As the Baal Shem Tov says, when you see something in somebody, it's because you're not pure. But it's a terrible, terrible thing, Lashon Hara. So who are we going to be? Shem, Cham, or Yefet? Now, the story of Shlomo Carlebach that heard in Mount Zion, this is Shlomo's real character. A woman came to my Rebbe and said, you know what? I was alone with Shlomo Carlebach in a house, and I took off all my clothes. I wanted him, all my clothes. And what did he do? He was a bacher, just out of the shiva. He ran out of the house. So that means that Shlomo's essence self is that way. Okay? But then there's all these stories, this, that. So you don't tell those stories. You don't. Why should you do that? And okay, so if you are, so good. You can tell me all the stories you want, but I'm only going to see the good, right? Not that we're ignoring the bad, but when it comes to learning from the tzaddik, as Mordechai Goldstein said, Shem didn't even notice. So even tell me, Cham is going blah, 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 to Shem. Blah, 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 blah. Shem doesn't even notice. Yefet noticed. Well, Watergate, cover it up. Watergate, right? Cover it up. But no, we're not covering anything up. We don't have saints. We have tzaddikim. And Shlomo Carlebach helped so many people come to God, to Torah. And they became Talmid Chachamim, many of them. So I'm just expressing this, that we know that you don't say, okay, this person's puzzled, or this or that. No, because who the person is in the Yetzer Hara are mamish, two different things. Now, if it's the essence of a person, that's a different story. We got to know the essence. So another Shlomo story is, I'm at a concert with Shlomo, and on this line, he says to me, we're outside after the concert, during the concert, taking a break, and I'm by myself, and Shlomo comes up to me and says, Ben-Sion, I got to talk to you. Ben-Sion, I want to tell you something. They told me not to speak to women. But Ben-Sion, what can I do? It was Yom Kippur time. It was Ne'ilah of Yom Kippur, and I was at the Kotel, and I'm looking over the Mechitza, and there was this beautiful Shechina, this woman. She's so beautiful, the Shechina, Ben-Sion, if I didn't speak with her, where would be my children? Where would be Dori? Where would be Neshamala? Ben-Sion, if I didn't speak with her, where would be my children? And of course, he named her Ne'ilah, because he met her at Ne'ilah time. Everybody knows, right? So I just want to express to us, Mamish, that Shlomo Carlebach was pure. He brought the purest light to this world. And all of us are pure. And Lashon Hara is disgusting. Disgusting that you want to lie about a person, especially if it's lies, and try to make a person someone else that they aren't, and you don't want to even investigate and find out who that person really is. It's really, really sick. I remember there was a hakafos on Simchat Torah a few years ago at the Breslov Big Shul. They're not singing any Shlomo songs. I couldn't understand what's going on. All of a sudden we get to the seventh hakafa. It's, right, Malchut, 7. All of a sudden, David Melech Yisrael, they're singing, oh my gosh, and they're just Shlomo songs. And that reminded me of our sages telling us that when King Solomon wanted to inaugurate the temple, right, and he's like trying to open the doors are not opening for him. The doors, big gates of the temple. And Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, is saying this and saying that for the sake of this, and saying to Solomon, what he's doing, saying, until he said, for the sake of your servant David, nothing happened. He said, for the sake of your servant David, boom, opens, and everyone saw that God loves David, and God forgave David. That's what I felt with Shlomo Carlebach. God completely loves Shlomo Carlebach, and we need to be Jews, and you're not allowed to accept any of this Lashon Hara stuff. It's just really unproductive, really wrong, and it's nothing, stupid. Now, the last time I saw Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach on this planet, well, they rebuilt the Churva. Now, we did weddings there. We did the Harari wedding there, because the Churva, that rebuilt synagogue in the Jewish quarter, didn't have a top on it for years and years and years. It was destruction, right? And so you do weddings there because you got to be under the stars, right? Under the sky, under the Shemayim. And Shlomo was on his way up to do a wedding, and I ran up to him to tell him something important. Because one of the songs we sang before, his Am Yisrael Chai, so years ago there used to be stickers all around Israel, political statement saying, Am im Golan, Am im Golan, Am im Golan, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael. So I recorded, I almost never take someone else's melody, but I recorded Shlomo's Am Yisrael Chai with Am im Golan. I added these words, Am im Golan, and anyway, the recording came out really good somehow. Like I did it myself somehow on a DAT, D-A-T, remember those? And with a piano player, organist, and it came out really nice. And this guy is making a Zionist album, and he says, please, can I have your song to put on my album? I said, yeah, no problem. That sounds great. Lo and behold, it's on the radio. On the radio! Shlomo's song. That's crazy. Come on. I can't do that. And I had no control, but it got on the radio. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not my song, it's Shlomo's nigun. I can't, this is not right. The last word Shlomo said to me is this. I ran up to Shlomo as he's going up to do this wedding in the old city in the Cherva before they rebuilt it. I ran up to Shlomo, your song, Am Yisrael Chai, right? So like I wrote Am, he stopped me in the middle. He said, Ben Sion, holy brother, Ben Sion, they're all yours. Basically said they're all yours. He was not holding on to anything. Of course now there's the Carlebach Foundation, of course you gotta hold on. Whatever it is, but he told me, he said they're all yours. He knew the insides of me before I knew the insides of me. Mamish, unbelievable. That was the last time I saw him on physical flesh in this world. Today's the 18th Chai, Shlomo's birthday, Ali Chaim's birthday. Chai, every month of the Jewish year is the same. It's just a progression from beyond to this world. So the 17th, when I'm born, Tishrei, 17th is Gematria Tov, is the beginning of light coming in. The next month in Cheshvan is, according to Rabbi Eliezer, the flood, all this light of Keter. I'm not explaining that right now. It's not a returning light class. But there are going to be 40 days of Keter filling the Yud to the third day of Hanukkah. It's 40 days later, right? And then you. But the day after is when the rain really starts coming down, the 18th. And you have Lag BaOmer, the other side of the year, according to Rabbi Yeshua, is when the flood is. Rashi brings both opinions, the 17th of Iyar. And the next day is Lag BaOmer. That's when you need a Rebbe. All this light, what do I do with it? How do I change my life and make my life what it's going to be, right? So the 18th is the time of the Rebbe's. Chai. Shimon Bar Yochai, right? On Lag BaOmer, both sides of the year. You have Rabbi Shlomo carlebach. Now, Shlomo gave us beyond this world. Shlomo's Yortzeit, when Shlomo passed from this world on the 16th of Cheshvan, so I wrote a whole thing about that the 16th of Cheshvan, Rashi brings these 2 months, Cheshvan and Iyar, with the flood, as parallel months. The 16th of Iyar is when the man started falling, which is food from heaven. Shlomo gave us, and Cheshvan is even higher, right? More closer to the beyond. Shlomo is Yortzeit, the 16th of Cheshvan. He's giving us food from heaven, from the beyond to this world. And it was Parshat Vayira. And my wife, Kana, Baruch Hashem, we're heading from Safat a few years ago to Shlomo, where he's buried. Right? Yeah. And it's the week of Parshat Vayira. And she put some one of Shlomo's songs on her telephone, and it's Ani Mami, right? Ani Mami, Ani Mami, Bemuna, Shlema, Biviat HaMashiach, Viat HaMashiach. Ve'af al pi sheyitmamea in kol zeh afachelo. Ve'af al pi sheyitmamea in kol zeh afachelo. La la la, hayah. Playing the song, right? I'm driving, it's Parshat Vayira. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's how Chazal Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf, Tzadik Zion, and the Rambam brings it, that Afal Pishit Mameh, even though the Mashiach, the Messiah, is taking his time, as Reb Chaim Sprecher puts it, a procrastinator, right? Taking his time, bringing out the light to the world. Afal Pishit Mameh, I'll still wait for him, but how does Chazal know that Mashiach is that type of guy? So as I realized, because it was Parsha Vayera, people get this. Lot is in Parsha Vayera. And by Lot, getting out of his Sodom was hard, hanging on to his stuff, his money, this, that, what he was hanging on to. And the verse in the Torah, the word is Vitmameya, because Mashiach comes from Lot. As we said, Lot's got all that light. And Abraham knew that he had to save him. All the light of Bina. Your load in life, who you are already. Not just filled with, automatic happening. So, I want to bless everybody. As Shlomo told us, when you see your friend, to only see the good and bring out the good. And only good, right? Shlomo taught us Ishbitzer Torah. The Ishbitzer Rebbe says, Me'etzadat, the tzaddik, Me'etzadat tov, v'ra lo tochal. Put a comma. From the tree of knowledge of good and bad, evil, don't eat, right? Put a comma. From the tree of knowledge of good, evil, don't eat. Don't ingest negative about anyone, anything. Only good. God, G-O-D, right? Look with another I, another O, G-O-O-D, good. It's only good. It's only good. Me'etzadat tov, v'ra lo tochal. And that's what Mashiach's going to teach us. Enjoy my song, Hodel Hashem. Hodel Hashem ben ki tov, ki le'olam chastov. It's all good. Hodel Hashem ben ki tov, ki le'olam chastov. Moshe Rabbeinu asks Hashem, asks God, who do I tell them is sending me? Well, God's sending you. But tell them, it says Shmi, Le'olam. This is my name forever. Le'olam is spelled in every Torah without a Vav. La'alem, hidden. So it means, just like Le'olam can be hidden, Ki Le'olam chasto, meaning that God's kindness can sometimes be hidden. We don't necessarily see it, but it's always there. Sometimes we see a bit later. As Rabbi David Aaron explains, Amunah, faith, has the same root as an uman, of craftsman. As a craftsman takes a piece of olive wood or a piece of silk material, starts cutting it. What are you doing? Looks terrible what you're doing. No, he knows what he's making. He knows what it's going to become. What's going to become is a redemption. The whole world close to God. Sing Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach's music in the temple. Le'olam chasto. Hodel Hashem ben ki tov, ki le'olam chasto. Hodel Hashem ben ki tov, ki le'olam chasto. See the good in yourself, see the good in the whole world. Let's bring redemption. Shalom from Northern Israel, holy city of Safat. I'm Ben Sion Eliyahu there. Thank you for enjoying.